you want to make a motion then, to approve the minutes and warrants?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as written.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. Any questions on the warrants and payroll?
There's a slug of them there.
A slug of questions?
I haven't seen them, so I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of the, what is it, the intangibles?
Oh, abatements.
Abatements, that's what I was thinking.
You're
Okay,
thinking-
I'll make a motion that we approve the warrants as listed.
Okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. What abatements is your last concern about?
We have a bunch of abatements.
Yeah.
These are all state assessed abatements, so they come from the state. Basically, they are on four companies: Midwest Energy, Prairie Land, Sunflower Electric, and Tallgrass. And it's value changes that the state sent me, and I had to go back in and adjust their values, and they all went down just a little bit.
All the way back to 2014.
Tallgrass was 2014. The others were 2015. But the abatements were due to company corrections and voted decisions, incomplete filings by the companies that came into the state that had to be corrected, late filings, those kinds of things created the abatements. So. And they're by taxing districts, and that's why there's so many. It isn't one per company. They're by taxing districts.
Every one of these from Tallgrass
Yeah.
is a negative. In other words, they've reduced their evaluation. Does that mean we will send them money for this?
An abatement is money going out.
Okay.
That is correct.
Well, these are all negative too, I've seen.
They all are.
I mean,
They're all abatements.
I think abatements always are negative.
No added this time.
See, that's one of the unknown expenses we can't even plan for, something like that in a future budget when companies do something like this. These come from the state, so.
It's bad enough, $2 when housing hasn't been now.
Not one of these is an increase.
I see nails.
Well, that's at least 10 grand for Prairie Land.
on these, Brett, in the description when I did those. And there's a bullet docket number there that tells me
Yeah.
why I made the changes that I did in the comment field.
Cool. See, I don't think it's too many for that.
These come out of the state, so we don't have any choice on that.
It's kind of what I figured. I was wondering a lot of times what the state's thinking. I mean, all these counties, nobody can just run along on nothing. You want to make the motion?
I make a motion that we approve abatements 23 through 61.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Yeah.
Cody? But if you don't mind me signing stuff, you can sign it. Oh, you guys. Close out here. Okay. The first thing I have for you guys is we have an overabundance of evidence upstairs. A lot of it has to do with a couple major crimes that we've had in the last couple of years that we're keeping. But for right now, our evidence locker is completely full. That's the lockers, they're like little gym locker things, padlocks on them. Our vault is fairly full. I'm looking to expand the number of lockers we have, go out and purchase some more lockers so we have some more room for evidence, so that we can maintain proper evidence control and follow procedures and standards of the court. What I'm looking at is probably spending around $1,800 on lockers. Lockers are not cheap. If you go look for them, I don't know why lockers cost so much dang money, but they're not cheap. But between the lockers and the locks themselves and stuff, I think $1,800 worth would expand our room enough to get us through the appeal process and everything on one of those cases to the point where we can get rid of some of that evidence. But it's there's a lot of it up there, taking up a lot of room. It's spilled over. I don't want any of my evidence sitting on floors or anything like that. So I think it's something that we need to do. So I was gonna let you guys know about that. Second would be Deputy Ann Burr. When we discussed pay over the last 6 or 7 months to go through this process, you know, we kept repeating that, you know, keep her at this level until she graduated from KLATC. Obviously, she's graduated from KLATC. So that's something for you guys as a commission to think in mind. We've talked about moving deputies up once they graduate KLATC. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but to me it's important to reward that step by fulfilling our promise that we would raise their pay after she graduates from KLATC. I don't know if you guys would, I don't know what you guys need to do that or not do that, but
Well, I think we have discussed it in the past, and I think we're in agreement to more or less comply with that. So therefore, I would make, if you guys have no objection, I'll make a motion that we increase our one tier or one step. So,
Okay, all those in favor and raising Ann Burr up one tier, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
and thirdly and finally, I think it's fairly important as we go through. If you remember last year when we did the budget for the 2015 year, one of the projects included was a body camera project. Now, we decided not to go ahead with the body camera project in order to take that $8,000 or so money for the project and put it into the jail fund, since the jail fund was going to go over. Which in the year, they used $3,800 of that $8,000 in the jail fund. I do believe that the body camera project is very important, and we do need to get body cameras for our officers. We've gotten a couple bids in, but I think it's better because we keep having people call if we extend the bid time on the vehicles to the next meeting. But when we sell the vehicles, I would like to use the money from selling the 2 sheriff's vehicles to put towards the body camera project. I gave that money up willingly last year to help cover some shortages in other places, but I think it's just really important for prosecution and you know, the officer's own reputation and protect citizens for the deputies to be wearing body cameras. I don't know if there's any discussion on it, but that's what I'd like to do with the money from selling the vehicles, is buy some body cameras.
would Dolores be able to move that money straight into his account?
Probably if it's in the general fund, you can move in the general fund.
So she could move it? Okay, and you said you had some bids that we need to open
I
today?
do, I have 2 bids. When are you planning on opening those?
Well, that's what, I guess, I kind of skipped over that real fast and discussed that. Do you know for what vehicles the bids are for?
The Blazer,
Blazer?
both of them are on the Blazer.
Do we want to, we don't have any bids on the Charger. I guess, my feeling is with the timing, getting in the paper, the timing, people just started asking about the Blazer and the Charger, the vehicles, in the last day or 2.
Okay.
We've had a lot of people come up and ask and stuff. I can't remember exactly how it was worded in the ad. Do you know, Ben?
It was by the 14th, I believe.
By the 14th, okay. I think, my opinion is we should leave it sealed until we open all of them. That's my opinion.
So you're wanting to extend the period of time?
Yeah, I would like to, just because we have no bids for the Charger.
Uh-huh.
We've had 2 bids for the Blazer. We've had a bunch of interest in the last 24 hours, 48 hours. We've had a bunch of interest in the vehicles and people calling and asking and wanting to go look at them and stuff. I know if we advertise until the 14th, can we extend it, or should we open the ones we have?
You can extend it, you would just need to advertise
Yeah,
again that it's been extended, and as long as you don't open those,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's my thing. We don't need to open until we open all of them, would be my,
How long do you want to extend it for?
let's just extend it to the next commissioners meeting.
Okay.
Is that,
So that the
April 29th?
The day before would be the cutoff.
Would be 28th.
Yeah. Like I said, we haven't even received.
You seem surprised by that.
But, so,
Well, we need a motion on that since it's,
or I guess we could open up the bids. Like, I mean, it's up to you guys, I'm just saying.
I don't think you need a motion for that.
I don't- I don't
No,
think
you
so
can just
either. I
make
don't-
that
yeah.
decision to do
Yeah.
that, so.
It's his department
Yeah.
if he wants to extend it.
okay. On another ad, I guess.
I don't have anything else, you guys have anything else, or? Done. Something like that? Yep.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. She said something.
Okay.
Can I ask you?
Oh, all I have,
Oh, okay.
so
Right.
I have no.
By the, like I said, we got busy yesterday taking people down to look at them, the vehicles. People started showing up yesterday, and I didn't know if anyone turned bids in or not yet.
I think it's a good idea to extend it if you've got more interest in it, so.
Dave had somebody come in right as I was walking out. I might just update you real quickly on the credit cards.
Okay.
We've been checking into those. I spoke with First National Bank out of Omaha yesterday, and I believe we can get credit cards with a 0% introductory rate, and there's no annual fee or anything like that on there. We can get them for the departments that say, like Cheyenne County Sheriff, and then anybody in the sheriff's office, if they need to travel, can take that credit card with them. So for any departments that want that. Wanted to check with you, what kind of a limit do you want on these credit cards? I believe with the EMS credit card, back in November, you had said $500. So do you want that for all departments?
I think that's a good limit, don't you guys?
Yeah, Cody, what's your thought on that, on credit card limit if you guys need it? I mean, are you,
My opinion will be in disagreement with yours, because we have a $500 limit currently on our debit card, and 75% of the year, that's fine. But when you have a situation like where Ann is at the Kelly TC and happened to buy fuel with it, maybe has a flat tire and has to get a tire fixed, and then I've got 2 deputies going to Denver to pick up a prisoner to take to Garden City to drop off the juvenile justice system, $500 doesn't go very far. When you got two groups of people in 2 different parts of the state trying to operate, $500 just, like I said, 75% of the year, $500 is a plenty. When you're doing things like purchasing things through vendors online, that's the only place you have to purchase like technology and some of this high-tech equipment we have for the dispatch. That's the only place we can purchase it, and most of those companies won't accept purchase orders or won't do a line of credit. $500 is usually enough, but like I said, you combine the three ways we use that debit card, and it can be used up in a hurry, especially on something like I said. It's not unusual for us to have 20 minutes lead time notice that we're leaving to go on a 4-hour trip to pick up a prisoner, to take them 7 hours to go to Garden City to juvenile justice, and we figured 2 people trying to eat, the fuel for that trip, possibility of a tire repair or something else. That's just my 2 cents, but that's,
Well, we asked,
yeah.
we wanted to know. What do you guys think?
1,000 for the sheriff?
Yeah, that'd be better.
Now,
Are you
the
just-
question I have, then, I guess, are we gonna replace the current debit cards with a credit card? I guess I'm confused about that.
That's,
I thought the discussion was that this was more for travel than anything else.
well, travel and some of those purchases that you have to pay for your purchase online when it's purchased online, online purchases. Yeah. I do have a concern with the debit card being used, or credit card being used for fuel, because currently we pay a mileage rate for employees that travel up and down the road. We don't have a county vehicle, most departments don't, so, you might consider putting a limit on no fuel, because the employee is being paid mileage. They could, so that would be a suggestion that I would have to the board.
Well, yeah, looks like Cody getting a prisoner, he's gonna use the sheriff's vehicle.
Well, for Cody's department, yes, because that is a county vehicle. But for those employees that use their personal vehicle to travel to meetings,
But
They-
we won't be giving them a card.
To use for fuel, we might not need a
Well-
hotel room, but.
Road and Bridge wanted a card, appraisers wanted a card, for travel, to meetings and that kind of thing.
Dispatch wants a card. Like I said, I think dispatch's biggest thing is that when we get into,
I mean, honestly, I could buy 3 things and it could be $30,000.
yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah.
And we can set them up to where the card says Cheyenne County Dispatch, or Cheyenne County EMS, or Cheyenne County whatever, and then whomever is employed in that department has authority based from the department head to use that credit card.
Deb, this just made me think, have you emailed Becky yet on the employee policy handbook?
No,
Because there is nothing in there about credit
Credit
card
cards.
usage, so.
okay. I will, I was gonna do that after the meeting today.
We didn't discuss that too. Employee handbook, did you read that?
Yeah, I read it all through.
I
And
did too.
I've sent an email to Nicole to address half a dozen items maybe, just minor things more than anything.
Yeah, I've received feedback from you, Carol, Dave. I think I probably have about
Yeah.
10 pages of stuff to send Becky with feedback, and then Deb was going to email her separately, so.
But we need to decide on the credit card. If we go ahead and do the sheriff's department, we should also be dispatch. We were planning on getting 2 cards, so I guess the one that's got the $1,000 limit, we make sure that it's for dispatch and sheriff. Agreed?
I think you should split those 2 departments.
Yeah.
I can track my billing and he can track his.
They are definitely 2 different departments. When we pay expenditures, those are definitely 2 different departments.
I mean, honestly, if we're sharing $1,000, like the situation we're in right now, I can buy anything. We have $80 left on our card and I can't get anything. So. And a lot of that was because Amy was the KLETC.
Right.
It-
But things like that will come around again.
Right.
To keep it simple, would it be okay to just put like $1,000 limit on it? And then for those departments that use their personal vehicle to put no fuel on it? But
Well, yeah.
obviously for the sheriff, they need to put fuel on there. And
Right.
ambulance, well, of course, they have their debit cards.
Yeah, when you're dealing with
Policy
major
did.
credit card companies, you can designate certain things
Right.
that
Mhm.
cannot be paid.
Paid for with that, correct.
So,
That's, I just need
The
to
only
know
problem
from you
is
how to
they're
get
not
it
gonna
set
know
up.
if it's who's using it for fuel. I mean,
Well-
or if
it doesn't cost anything to get the card, right?
No,
So
there's.
why not just make it flat across the board, each department has a card, whether they use it or not, it's totally up to
Up
them.
to them. Right.
And
Departments
then
that-
I think, just having a very simple policy
Yes.
of you can only
We're
use the
making this
card
way
for
too
gas
complicated.
purchases for a county vehicle.
Instead of 2 cards, we're talking about multiples.
Correct, correct.
I think that's pretty standard.
It is. When I visited with the gentleman yesterday from Omaha, that is pretty standard procedure.
And I'll say from, I think, a liability and administrative issue, if we end up running into an employee or a department causing problems in some ways, it's probably nice to have separate cards because it's going to be easier to identify where the problem's coming from. As opposed to if everyone was checking out 1 or 2 cards.
And honestly, if employee A is abusing that card, shut that card off. Everyone else still has their access.
It seems like it's going to be more of a headache.
It is quite a liability for the county. The credit cards are a liability, but like I say, sometimes it's impossible to secure motel rooms
Yeah.
without a county card, because a lot of motels won't direct bill unless you spend $10,000 a year with them. Well, we're a small county and we don't spend that kind of.
And I think one of the biggest things, like I said, for at least dispatch side is, there's nowhere to go in town to find, a alley modem. You can't buy one in St. Francis. And you're probably gonna deal with a company that's online, and when you tell them, we wanna do a PO, or you want us to charge it, they're gonna laugh and say, no. Get your credit card out, pay for it, and we'll send it to you. And that's what we're finding a lot on the technology side when we need cables or something like that is those companies, they don't care if you're a government, whether you're the federal government, state, local government, they're not going to charge it to you. They want a credit card now before they send it to you. And we find out we use it more for that than anything.
And when I visited with this gentleman yesterday, I did mention that the county pays twice a month. So you guys sign checks on the 15th and the last working day, and we can set it up to where it'll float like 30 days or 60 days. That billing will float so that we don't get any late charges on there. But I think employees need to know that when they charge on that credit card, a receipt needs to be turned in immediately so that it doesn't get lax. We do have that trouble with the debit cards not being reimbursed.
So right now, we're still talking about cards for travel. And we're talking about cards for the departments, each department.
Not only travel, but for internet purchases. Unless
You could be opening up a bag of worms there if you set $1,000 limit and then.
Well, I think that's where you guys set clear policies and set follow through on it. And I think especially, this is a good conversation to be having now, because I know the current draft of the employee policy handbook does not include anything about credit cards.
Yeah.
But I think one problem is, and this is something I think we're running into all over the county, and I know Eric through IT, but the reality of the world we live in today is it's hard to conduct business without having access to a credit card.
I do agree with Commissioner Radcliffe. I think it is opening a can of worms. I would like to think on it a little bit, guys, just because if we have every department that has a credit card and somebody, they have the ability to scan your credit card while it's in your wallet, correct? Yeah. You lost me at Allen Modem. But I'd like to give that a little bit more thought. I don't have a problem with getting the 2 cards that we originally talked about and then setting a $1,000 limit on one that is specified for sheriff and dispatch. But I want to think on that a little bit, just if that's okay.
So you want to table it for 2 weeks?
Yeah, I would rather do that, and because I want to.
I agree with you on that.
Are you
How about
guys wanting certain information? Just from Deb and I's perspective, is there something you're wanting?
Because I think we should address it in the employee handbook. That's where I think it should go, and I think we need to make a decision to have it included in there. How do you feel?
Well, I think, I mean, your guys' decision is
Yeah.
going to dictate, and so what I was asking is, do you guys just need time to kind of think on this and think it over, or are you needing something from Deb and I before the next meeting? Because what's in the employee policy handbook is going to be completely dictated by your guys' decision
Well,
on that.
I know, I'd like to do some research and find out, is every department mean, do we get one for the landfill as well? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because if we have two, it's not very hard to manage. But if we've got 12 different cards, it's harder to manage. It's kind of where I'm coming from. So maybe we all need to kind of just do some thinking on it, if that's okay. I'd like to really think on it.
I visited with Shelley Harms yesterday. She's the county clerk in Thomas County, and she said outside of the sheriff and the EMS, every department has their own, but they are checked in and out of the clerk's office. And when you check it out, or you check it out and you sign for it, and when you bring it back, you bring the receipt right when you check it back. And you are expected, and she said, we are very strict on that card comes in. If you use that card to go to a meeting, it's checked in when you come back with a receipt.
Something you may want to consider in your policy, at least 2 other places I've worked previously have this policy. When you bring that credit card back, if it's a checkout system, and you don't produce a receipt, you get to pay that bill.
Yes.
No questions asked,
No.
bottom line, you
Yes.
pay the bill.
Whoever made the charges on that card.
Unless
provides
it's
it.
fraud, of course. I mean,
Okay. I guess when I was sitting there thinking of getting cards for every department, that they
Oh,
would
that
have.
they would just be like sitting there?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they would.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more okay with that.
Whenever you guys make your motion to table or whatever, I'd like to revisit the vehicle thing after reading the ad in the paper.
Okay. Do you want to think on that credit card a little bit more? And see, maybe we can see what,
Well,
if the handbook, if we can get anything put in there before we do it.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to think it over a little bit more, and you know, both Deb and I can talk to a few other counties, see what their
See what
policies
other-
are. I will tell you
yeah.
what I was envisioning was, but for emergency services, which I think emergency services needs to have ready access.
Right.
I had just assumed they were still going to sit in the clerk's office and they were going to be checked in and
well,
out.
originally, that's what we discussed.
Well, and I think that's what both Deb and
Yeah.
I were thinking in that conversation. So if you guys want to think over that more and we can see what, some other counties do, we're still going to want to give Becky a heads up because I'm getting back with her on feedback this afternoon.
Okay.
I read the ad in the paper, and it clearly states the 14th. I kind of had a change of heart when I see that we have two bids on the Blazer. We had 2 people who read the ad and got it in on time.
Yeah.
Maybe we should open the ones for the Blazer now. I mean,
And then re-advertise on it.
re-advertise the Charger since we don't need bids. Like I said, I feel bad being greedy, saying let's re-advertise, see if we have some more. But the paper, the ad clearly says the 14th, and you had 2 people who complied with the ad and were in here on the 14th. If somebody didn't show up until the day before to look at it and didn't come submit a bid,
I think that's your call, Cody. I think it's a fair way to.
I'm having second thoughts of I'm feeling greedy by saying let's advertise the Blazer again. There's
Okay.
2 people. If it was just one bid, I think we could say there's no competition. We had put an ad in the paper. But I think we have 2 bids for the Blazer. My opinion is we should open them. Those 2 people got them here by the date in the paper.
And then we'll re-advertise the Charger.
Re-advertise the Charger.
Okay.
Good.
Do you guys
My
okay with
wife wanted
that?
me to bid on the Charger.
Okay. Well, let's.
Okay, Dave, you want to get your stuff up as we're doing this?
Somebody's got a letter on the
I can grab it. Oh,
Oh, I got it. Okay. Bid 1 is $806.
and who's that from?
Frank's wrong.
Frank Serrano, Bird City.
Ooh. Bid 2 is for $800. Mary. Mary
Gaskell?
Gaskell. There's only $6 difference between the two bids. Now, I guess the question for you guys are, I don't know what the rules are, but one is a county employee. Are county employees allowed to bid on county equipment?
As long as it's sealed bid like that, you can.
Okay.
Okay. So Frank Serrano got it. 806.
Get the spelling on that second one.
Okay. Come on, Dave, sir.
Would you know the play?
Yep.
You want to keep him there?
I think you leave them for a couple of weeks at least.
Yes. Would you call Mary and?
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
Take care of it, let him know.
Yep, I'll
Okay.
take care of it.
All right, thanks, Cody.
One of the full week's expenses was a $1,500 opinion on 140G, the back bearing knocked up on us. Wound was able to replace the pinion, and all of them covered at the time. So, time you did the bearings and things like that. We were fortunate enough didn't get into the ring gear on that one, but I'm thinking of maybe going ahead and there is an update on that, redoing some other graders. So, I think that's the only thing that's really different on that sheet there. Next is this federal fund distribution. It's called federal fund exchange rate, where we get 90 cents back on every dollar to utilize on a project. This is an annual agreement, so we'll go ahead and sign that. This statement here says we have $60,406.13, but the updated one says we actually have $95,839.44. Gerald, I think that may be wrong, but that's all right. And I'll submit this after we finish the Parks Road project, and then we can get our 90% money back on this. So we just need to sign.
Federal fund exchange.
It's changed through KDOT.
The 95, what was it, 95.4? All right.
Because we had the, the 90-10 bridge last year, I didn't submit anything, so maybe that's the reason there was an increase on this new statement, so.
I like that figure better.
It all helps.
I was looking at a trade on an excavator. We got that old Komatsu 220. After they inspected it, we was using it when you know the final ride locks up on it. So I ordered parts yesterday. Still, it was a reasonable amount. I think we caught it in time for that too. So, but still, maybe looking at a trade on that one.
What are you going to trade it for?
Looking at a Cat 325.
What are you looking at difference?
Don't fully have the numbers back yet, but I'm thinking close to 82.
Is it long run, short reach,
Medium.
medium?
Distance. Something I'd like to have us think about, instead of the internet and the computer at the landfill and the Birdsley shop, we're required to keep a phone in place for emergency purposes. I'd like to eliminate the landline phone, go to the cell phone, and therefore we can punch in on the cell phone when we go to this time clock plus system. So eliminate the internet, eliminate computer mess, and it also know, still be able to have a phone around it.
Okay.
So when we get closer to that point, I think that's what we need to
Will
look at.
that work with the,
We'd have to buy this app through Time Clock Plus. I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking it was around $800, and you can have up to 20 apps on that system.
That is correct. I spoke with Pam Meadows and asked her, since we already signed a contract for the time clock accounting system, how this would work, and she said it would be an add-on. And
It's 25, if you
20, I think.
want 20,
1 to 20.
1 to 20.
You can put a range of 1 to 20 phones on there. It still costs $800 if you only have 2 phones on there,
I see.
versus if you have 20 phones, it's still $800.
I keep saying phone number.
And you would save on the internet and everything else, so that's good.
So we can do up to 20 phones. That would be really helpful for emergency services too.
Yeah.
Because we could probably easily get up to
Oh, and, you know, I think
12,
if it's,
I mean, easy, right?
yes.
Probably get closer to 20.
You know, I didn't know whether you guys wanted somebody to come out and explain how that works, logging, getting the app on your phone, or how you wanted to handle that.
Probably
We
have
are,
somebody come out and explain it would be what I would think.
well, we're
Because
gonna
if
have
there's any
people
questions
using
on
it, I think it'd
usage.
be nice.
well, this is another thing with Beth coming the end of the month with the policy handbook. There's wording in there that needs to be changed to update it to the Time Clock Plus system. But, and I have a list of questions from CIC on setting up the software, decisions that need to be made by the board. So if you had any questions how the app works, that would be a good time to ask.
So do we need to get a new proposal from Time Clock Plus to include that, or it just would be an add-on to our prior?
It would be an add-on.
Okay.
And it's roughly $800 for up to 20 phones. So,
Is 800 at one time? I don't know.
Yes.
Saying, okay.
yes, it was a one-time, yes.
Well, it's something that if somebody changes a phone, these smartphones aren't so, they don't last a long time. I mean, is that something that they can put it on a different phone, or do we have to pay again?
I think they could download that app if they traded phones to a different.
Okay, we
Um,
might want to check on that.
But they're going to have a password to get into it. It isn't like somebody can just log into it. There's security features in there. You know, if you would like, I can call Pam Meadows and see if she could come out and explain that process.
I think it would be good to educate.
I think we need to make a motion though to go ahead and get the app, don't you guys?
Yeah.
So you probably want to listen to her first before you even go ahead with
Before
it.
you make a decision.
Okay.
Are you thinking about trying to get her out for the next meeting? So that it would be kind of convenient to have Austin Peters and Time Clock
Yeah,
Plus here to
right,
talk about
right.
language even?
Okay.
At the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, before you purchase it, you know, find out what it is, so.
Okay.
Okay, I got a bill here from the landfill. I got to have your commissioners approve getting it written off. We can't get it collected. Been spread. And he's on a no charge list now. Been there before. Yes, we have. The second one, we evidently made an error because he come out there and he said he had never brought anything, so evidently we wrote down the wrong individual.
Oh, okay,
Filled this now, so that was our error.
okay.
So, my error now. Still, we have to have it approved of so we can finish our audit books and everything like that, get that closed out.
He discussed these with me yesterday.
So what do we actually need to do then on this?
We just need a motion
To write those two bills off.
To write them off?
and don't have the names correct.
Huh?
And we can't release the names, we just need to have motion to have.
Yes.
that off.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to write those two off.
One is 2670 and one is 1970.
With the one. I think the one's already on a no
$26.07.
charge for staff there.
One's already online, no
The
charge.
second one,
Is 19.
Okay.
even.
But if he'd happen to come back out there, we can't collect that, correct?
Right, once
Okay.
it's written on, it's
But
done.
no longer charging.
Okay, do you want me to amend that motion to, or?
How do you just make a motion that we're gonna write these two?
Okay, I just did make a motion, we'll write.
So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, sorry.
You're done.
Okay, get out of here.
Now go ahead.
Okay. Gerald and I are still looking at this Barnhart Bridge, that one section we do not like. I debate about putting some steel beams in. I think he's leaning towards putting a new section in. The quote I had earlier for that new section is $9,442. Yes, that's not.
This has got the 9 sections, right?
Yes. And I know
Which section is it?
it's the one that's backwards. And we looked at that one, there's two of them that have the 9 sections, the one we
The
call
other one's
Morris.
backwards too, isn't it?
No, we can't find this backwards, but it is falling pretty bad, and we might have to put some steel in that one.
Why didn't it have 1 arch when we got it built instead of 3?
I don't know. So.
Well, don't say the guys that built it didn't build it right, we don't want to hear that.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, I'm gonna have to go one way or the other on this, so, just so you guys are aware of that one.
The sections we have there wouldn't fit in that one.
No, to see them are,
They're for
they're
6
6-footers.
footers.
These are 3/8, sorry, yeah. They're both 24 foot, but the other would match up.
But they're not the right width.
Correct. Yeah.
I think of the last sections we had, was supposed to run down South Ford City, wasn't they?
On Dad's Ridge.
Yeah. Why didn't we ever put them in?
Didn't have any failure after that point. It didn't seem to get any worse, and then we wound up.
State approved. Okay. As long as we're still good.
Yeah, and there was just one row of them. And I think we wound up sliding some steel in the center span. We're back to Legal Bridge. And any more deterioration.
Rod Swigert caught me again yesterday on the runoff from the city onto his property. City says he's out of city limits, and we say it's city. Is there anything we can do to help? Because his yard floods, he says.
He's in a flood zone. The runoff comes from the city. When we was last I talked to him, we was hoping to have some fresh concrete, landfill, and maybe utilize some of that to correct it. But we did get that, that asphalt overlay kind of in there to kind of get that diverted some.
Okay. Well, he'd like to have something done because he's complaining about it. I may tell these guys more about it later and let them go look at it. So,
We might be able to watch it this weekend.
yeah, that's what I'm afraid of.
Okay, I just need 5 minutes of executive session to discuss personnel.
Okay, we'll need a motion.
I know, make a motion that we enter into executive session. The subject is non-elected personnel.
So,
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.